understood when I was younger. Whoa, where are we here? When I was younger, I never really understood how they did it when it came to the law and all that. But America, they really showed me how much they cared. Well, sorry, the United States of America. They Because I used to live there somewhat, but I was from Canada, and they did a lot of things for me. They invited our family down pretty much, and we got to live in our own houses down there. My dad still does, but that's what the experience was for me. But when I was down there were a couple things, problems. They had an occasional American that maybe said something about, because I felt like I was a full blown American all the way through and through. Even though coming back to Canada, I realize now that I'm not a fully blown United Statesian American or American, just, you know what I mean. But they cared a lot about me, and they showed that when they arrested my old friend Mike. And I say this guy or whatever because sometimes he would act like he was just that guy. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, he would be such a friendly character, and then he might really do something really mean to you. And you would never think such a nice character like Mike would have did something mean to you or whatever. Stuff like that. Like, he knocked me off my scooter. I mean, I don't think anybody's at arguments that he didn't knock me off my scooter. Um, I have like one of those just kick scooters. Man, I fell really bad, and I've suffered with that since he kicked me off the scooter back in Florida. My leg broke. I broke my tibia and my fibia. It's like every day I feel the bone. It causes unbelievable disability to me. It's like unbelievable. It twisted all the way around. But you know what America did for me? And I never thought they would do it. They did a combinational consecutive sentence on him for, well, it wrapped up a lot of things. He got caught for this child pornography is what it was. But I feel satisfied to the point where, hey, I thought he just got away with bloody murder. The way he did my leg, you know? And he was a straight snitch in the neighborhood. I was just trying to, me and my family, we brought our money down from Canada. We were just trying to enjoy Florida. My brother came down. He got me this little mini motorcycle. All they ever did, like, they acted so friendly to me, and then they called the sheriff's office on me, and they told them that I have a mini motorcycle. And back then, hey, we were just like some sort of touristy Canadian snowbird family that brought a good amount of money down and got to go to Universal. But hey, I had a little mini motorcycle, but I was underage, and I only got to ride a couple times, and that was a lot of money for my family. And I'm an adult now, and you know how it is with money when you're an adult. And I just got taken advantage of, and it's so much. And but then I became who I am now with all that hard work, and we made it happen, and we made it happen, and the FDLE raided him. They kicked the door in, okay, with assault rifles, and they put it right in their face, and they said, "Who do you think you are?" And they arrested him, and they took him to jail, and he went to prison for 3 years, and he learned a good lesson. I don't think he learned every lesson, but I think he learned a good lesson. And then quite recently, they did bring him in for another run through the jail because he was acting like, I don't know, he started this big like snitch war fight thing. Like, I don't know what it was. We were playing games on the Xbox, and then he started like this, like threatening, yelling at me, saying like with his buddy, he started this thing with this Ohio buddy. And then they were like, he doesn't, but here's the thing. He's on these conditions. He's not supposed to even have a computer or an Xbox or anything. So he was starting all these fights on the computer, and then they had to take him in again. They took him in to try to, and what they're trying to tell him is, if you keep doing that stuff, they are going to life imprison you. That's what they're saying. They're like, here's your next chance. It's like, are you ready to go back for life, or are you going to make it out in the world? Because people in the world are pretty sensitive, and like, I was like innocent. I didn't like, I was talking to a girl on the phone, and I understand now that I'm older, but from my understanding, there was so many girls out there. I didn't think my friend was going to get so jealous to knock me off the scooter, my leg was going to get broken and all that. But now that I'm a grown man, I realize, like, whoa, we got men in the society. See, I was just a little white kid. Now, like, like, if you're talking to a woman or a girl, you don't talk to them around another man. It's your woman or your girl that you're talking to. Like, that will set you up for all types of shit worse than getting a broken leg. Okay, but that's a lesson he taught me, so I'll say that he toughened Tom up a lot. So he did his time, and I even went to jail too, but not as much as him. He went for 3 years. I was just in and out. But he told me when I was there in Florida, he said, I'm real mob or mafia. Actually, he was being a thug, and that was the problem. I was thinking more mafia. He was thinking more thug. He said he was going to run his streets. And I said, okay, run your streets. That's something the mafia says, sort of. But we don't really say that either. Like, and he was just going off with that where I was going the other way. But now he's gotten back. His dad's a good guy. His dad's a real good guy. His dad and mom are real good guys. You know what I think it might have been too? I am part African. I'm an internal dark skin. And Mike and his family are blue eyes, white skin. So I think I reminded Mike, okay, we're talking psychologically. I reminded him of like a black thug, even though in my head or whatever, I wasn't trying to be a black thug. I was trying to be like a white guy. So it kind of screwed his psychological up, and he started acting all thuggy and all that because of my brown eyes. So once I realized all this shit, that's when I realized, like, okay, I'm supposed to go back to Canada. I'm a specific breed or whatever. Like, I'm pretty weak or whatever. Like, in the United States, even though you don't even realize it, like, some folks are pretty strong in their families and all that. Like, just all together, like, as a family and all that. Like, and I never did. And that's why I had to come to Canada, because that's the only place I'd probably be able to survive, right? Because it's a certain family life is, how family life is. You have family security, family time, family this, family that. Everything's about your family or whatever. You have all these different family procedures. Your family procedures and your rules. Yeah, that was a big thing. Like, if you're going to have family rules and all that. One of my family rules would be to not be too serious about family rules. You don't have to be too serious about family rules, but there is rules to everybody's family, or else your family will not succeed, because there's families that have rules, all right, and they follow them, and that's the reason why they're so successful as a family, and they're happy. They're so happy families. Mike was really lucky, though, so far. His family really cared about him. He did his prison time. They had to let him go. But like, my mom, she kind of like let me go on my own. But that was time for Mike. Got on his own too. 3 years he went on his own. So congratulations to him, because I think he learned a good lesson about being on his own. Look at this, Mr. Bones the Butcher. And I bet you his mom and dad, as much as they love Mike, they love him to death. And I do too. They they probably had some pretty decent times when Mike was in prison, but Mike's mom loves him. Like I bet you was just sad the entire time, but I think it was good for Mike for sure. I mean, Mike would have just been this like caged fucking um chicken. Yeah, like he would that's all he would have been in this world. So it's good that he learned. Now he's more like a pretty smart, he's a free roam rooster, whatever. So am I. I'm a free roam rooster too now. But sometimes I like to go to the coop and coop up. And that's how these ones are. They go back to their coops and they coop up and hang out and whatever. And then they go and Mike had a whole Georgia side to him, eh? And that's the thing. I think I brought out that side of Mike because Mike remembers Georgia, and it's changed a lot in the United States, but it's going back. I'm telling you, it's going back to that. We had a huge influx of other kinds, and I think that our populations are starting to go up again. The Americans, like the real full-blooded American citizens. Like it feels like a healthy mix now. Is all I mean. It feels like more of a healthy mix now. It feels equal. It's like, hey, yeah, it feels more equal, right? And that's when my mom, she was a white woman because everybody wants to talk about from going dark to going light, you know. But my mom, she was famous when she was younger. She would wear foundations like this, darker foundations. She was like started out sort of white. Well, she was as white as a tortilla, as a flour tortilla. And then they would wear like this sort of this she was famous for, and the Red Door Elizabeth Arden perfume. My grandmother used to buy it every Christmas, and my mom, and that was big business for Elizabeth Arden. No wonder sales have sort of went down, but it's a great perfume. I can only vouch from it. We loved my grandmother, we loved my mom, and all that. Unfortunately, they're not buying Red Door anymore, but maybe I'll buy my mom Red Door. Maybe I'm the one that for Christmas, it'd have to be this Christmas. I better do something special for my mom. Get her Red Door perfume and all that. And it's supposed to sit on her, like her, supposed to sit on her, the vanity or whatever the hell they call it, the dresser. And then it sits there, and that's your Red Door perfume. And you maybe have a spray or what have you. And whenever you're going, actually, she'd wear it whenever they were going out somewhere really nice. Like if we were going out for dinner, Chinese, we were going out for a nice Chinese dinner or something. Like the women would maybe wear the Red Door or whatever. But then people got sick of the Red Door, but then that's why they started wearing other things but the Red Door. But I remember the Red Door, it had a specific smell to it that I remember since I was a kid. It was such a smell. I remember smelling it as a kid. I wish like I always had a bottle of Red Door in the house. See, because these perfumes are bottles of all different natural fragrances. So they're really nice to keep all these little bottles and all big bottles of natural fragrances around. They're really healthy for your, like when I spray, I never noticed until I got, what was it, that Paco Rabanne I have, and I have another one, Calvin Klein. No, I can't remember what the other one is. I think it's, I have 3 or 4 colognes. And even if you just spray it, it hits your skin or what I don't know how it, but it goes all the way down to the core of your body. You can smell like, and if you just do a small amount, you don't need a lot, just like a little spray. It penetrates your whole area and you can feel it in your, it like feels like it's clearing out um your sinus system or whatever. One like couple times if I'm like in that mood where I'm in a good mood, I haven't had the cologne on in a really long time, I do a small amount or what have you, spray or what have you, it gets a little bit, somehow that tiny bit, it just whew, and then, but it's not like that. It's like it's hard to explain. It has health benefits, but not too much, just the smallest amount, especially when your body hasn't had any good fragrance to it. It really brings something special to you. Same with these moisturizers and these creams, but you want to be careful on how much you use, I always said, but at the same time, sometimes I don't use enough. So my mom would always use too much moisturizer and I would always use not enough. But my skin, now my mom's skin, she doesn't use too much really, but because it can become a stress thing where you think, oh, that's your daily routine. Same with showering or bathing is to put on, but it's actually, it may be every 3 days, I think. Maybe every 3 or 4 days, not every day. Look at these advanced cremide capsules, or sorry, ceramide capsules. Oh, they're like these little, yeah, to a certain extent she is. But that's, you all know how a mom is. She has mom privileges. Why would it be any more than mother? No, bud, you're at mother privileges, bud. And he doesn't want it at that point anyway. So stop that. Because you just ruined my video. But my mom's not like that. That was somebody else. A lot of people got stuff to say about my mom or me and my mom's relationship, but we're doing good. And that's what they always did. And that was a hit. And my mom likes to let them just hit her, and that's how Susie was too. She said, "Just hit me," and the black guy just hit her, okay? And I've been trying to tell those women it's not like that, all right? They went, yeah, those black people really just shoot you. It happened to one of my friends. She was teasing a black guy or a group of those ones or whatever, and then he broke into the house, and instead of her running away or grabbing a weapon or anything like that, she just let the guy shoot her. Like what an idiot. And nobody cares, They think people care, whatever, or something, and nobody does. You just sort of die, and everybody, like, you know what I mean? So be very careful about that. And especially that guy right there. That you are such a pussy ass motherfucker. You wait to see what hits you, because I know who's talking. You understand me, sir? You're done, sir. I know exactly who's talking. I got you all lined up. You're chalked out, motherfucker, all right? You're all chalked out, all right? And if you keep pushing it, I will do something to you, okay? Legally. I've already let my lawyers know, and I've already let the prosecution know that they have been harassing me. So what you just did in the middle of my video again has constituted another harassment. And the bullying stops here, all right? Stop the sexual harassment, stop the, and when I mean sexual harassment, I mean male on male, because I don't perform as well as you or something. Women on male, anything like that. What about the bullying on me that you've been doing? All I've been doing is working on my stuff legally, and you've been just trying to do all this illegal stuff and the bullying and false accusations. And, you know, if there becomes a time actually that those false accusations, a time like now, where we've realized that these continue to be false accusations, so then that is when they're done, thus we can charge you for a false report, which is also known as fraud, because your intentions to give the false report are ill, or they are of a bad nature or bad intention or what have you. It's a fraud or what have you. You're frauding me of my intention or what have you, with your false accusations saying I'm doing something when I'm not, and you know I'm not doing it. You're just making it up to have me financially hurt or in prison. That's fraud. You can be charged with fraud, and then also you could be charged with false report. Uh, um, what's the official charge? There's an official, real charge, like an actual thing we could actually process you right now for. That one is false statement. So you will be guilty of filing a false report. So you are giving false statements and you're committing fraud by arguing against anything, by saying that I have done anything to that anybody, because it's already been proven in court that that got thrown away for the self-defense. So any further statements would be false because it's already been officially dealt with. So what you're saying is you're like, oh, we know it's been officially dealt with, but we're so big and bad, like mafioso, mafiesca, or whatever, that we're just gonna like manipulate it and all that, make it look a certain way and all that. And that is a big, 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 big fraud. And I'll charge you like a motherfucker for that shit. Okay. Thing about fraud is, if you're doing that fraud on me, then you're talking fraud over 5,000. So now we're talking like a highly indictable RCMP offense. It's like you do not want a fraud over 5,000 to come down on your head, fucking with Thomas Perron-Slote. So just get off my case, bud. You know, I'm so tired of it. I still don't have a Kensington lock. I just carry my laptop with me because I know about theft now. So these are part of my personal security. I mean, internet security, like I said, is one thing, but then there's physical security of your person, but also your property, like your laptop, computer, and all that. You can get a lock, like a Kensington lock, to hold it down, or you can take it with you and all that. There's all different, like, there's all different methods of personal security or home security. You know, you got a home or an apartment, anywhere that's a residential. Okay, it's called residential security. If you, and then if somebody, because I've had that a couple times, they say you're not a home person, a homeowner. Hey, even if you're renting the lowest flat, even if you're renting an apartment, you are allowed to have security. Home security? Yes. I mean, why else would you rent a house? Or else everybody would just be like savage gorillas killing people, and that's why you have all that murder and all that. where people like that family I just seen on YouTube. What a pristine family. And they just all got murdered and then they throw them in jail, but you don't get it. Jail is a fun thing for them. You don't want to be on the news story, okay? As the dead bodies or whatever, because then no one gives a fuck. They just do some heinous stuff, okay? So your home security and all that is very important because nobody cares about your child like you care about your children. Nobody, not even God themselves, love your children and yada yada like you do and your wife or your husband and all that. That's you and your family. Actually, it's you and yourself, and you have to give trust to your spouse and your children, but then at the same time, you have to know that there could be potential red flags going on with even your own. See, you just gotta. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's sort of a man's job to be that part of the family. And the woman's not supposed to be too powerful in one of those families either. If you're wanting to have the wife with the children and everything work out and all that, the wife is supposed to be pretty like powerless when it comes to money herself. Like she has to rely on you kind of, So then she's sweet and she has to be pretty weak, like weak, She knows she's weak, so she's not gonna like fight. Like she relies on you for the security of being alive as a person. Like if like for instance, oh, I don't want to get into it, but that's your wife, all right? Like if you made people jealous or whatever over the years of your wife and all that, if you don't hold on to her, like there's a good chance that she'll get hurt depending on who you are and all that. So it's a big responsibility. Same with your kids. Like if you're one of those people that like always rubbed your kid on people and all that like that, and then that time hit, I guarantee your kid ended up like one of those dead kids or whatever. Those OD victims or all that. Or not OD, all different things. You got to watch how you got to watch your character in the community. Like, can you believe that there's real people that would fall asleep like this in their car? Well, I did. I fell asleep sort of, but I was the passenger when they were driving. Yeah, you got to watch falling asleep in the car and all that. You got to. Okay, it's not a bad thing, but just you don't understand how quick. Okay, you don't understand. Okay, listen. You think that it all comes down to your body when you're overdosing on drugs, but it doesn't. They have. Okay. What happens is you got to make sure you get a good sleep and don't get too strung out because there's systems in place or whatever to once you hit a certain point you're gonna die or whatever. It's hard to explain. Like you have to like lay there and get your sleep or whatever, or else next thing you know, you're one of those class act examples of what these pictures and the worst stories and the worst videos. And it's all like so real like that. It's all so real like that. Um, you know, this guy made it so far. He's taking his time. He's sitting on the lawn chair. He's lighting a candle, getting a really good fresh breath of air for his brain and all that. He's letting it really settle in. And whoa, yeah, that's how you get a heart attack. And that happens to me a lot because I have such a it's gotten to the point well I'm starting to like let my blood settle, but I became like such this famous celebrity or whatever that anytime I even leave the house, it's like this big extravaganza. Like and it gets, oh my God. But listen, you don't even know what it's like being me. Okay, you think you are, yeah, but imagine being me, okay? Like, you don't do much, all right? Like, I have to do a lot, all right? And in the end, when I'm sitting in my fucking the most expensive house, because okay, the system works like this. Everybody gets on a mortgage. So basically what it is right now for my age group is for the Canadians, it's like whoever is the hardest working Canadian guy right now is going to be the one with the biggest house when we're like 60 years old and all that. Because I'm going to have the money. Like, okay, even the bums in Canada, okay? Even bums in Canada. Yeah, but you don't get it. Even just bum ass people own homes in Canada. Like people that nobody even knows your name. Like you did nothing. Like you did nothing. Like, and they have a home in Canada. Okay. Justin did something. He's the goddamn prime minister. He gets up every fucking day and puts his pants on. Every day, bud. Every day. And he puts his belt on and he puts his shirt on and he puts everything else on. He's working every goddamn day. This guy just lays here all fucking day and eats bananas and fucking smokes crack and shit. Okay, but the point is, like these people here, like their mortgage, like I know what my auntie did to get her house, and she has a gigantic log mansion. And I'm way more productive. So unless there's some scam going on, because then it's a fraud and I'll have to attack it by legalities. There may be a fraud going on, but if she could secure a mortgage and she doesn't even know fuck all, like complete idiot when it came to business, then I know I'm good because I got some good business going on. So, but it won't be now. It'll be in like 25 years, just like the rest of everybody. But all those old people will be dead and I'll be the man. But guess what? There'll be a lot of other men too, and they'll have really nice houses and all that too. And we'll remember all those scumbag pieces of shit that used to look down on us. And oh my God, I know how much everything will feel so good. Because guess what? That will, believe it or not, my gigantic house will be exempted on my ODSP. I'll still receive my ODSP. I'll have a big ass mansion, all that, because guess what? $50,000 I'm allowed to have in my account. So I'm allowed to make a $50,000 down payment on a house. So I make a $50,000 down payment on a house or whatever. That could buy you a mansion in Canada or a castle. 50,000. Usually people put 10,000 down. So even if I just put 10,000 down on a house, if you're talking one of those houses, but I say I want something bigger, I'll put 50,000 down if I can get a mansion. I want something way bigger than this. Everybody tried to make fun of me in my life. I was a super celebrity. I worked fucking like I'm like God. I have everything is under me, you know? And so I deserve so much more than a normal house. And that's what they'll do for me in like 20 years. I will have the biggest, most luxurious house with all the nicest, cool shit and all that. I guarantee it. Just like Ben Mall, I will. And I'll own it and all that. And it's not even owning it. It's all just a rental system all the way through. You either pay your rent every month with a first and last, or you save up a little more money, you get a mortgage, but even when you pay the mortgage off, you're still paying rent every year, property tax. So no matter what, even if you own the property, you're always paying rent. So it's all just a rental system. So I learned that completely. It's not about the cash, really. It's all a rental system. It's just having the lifestyle and the business plans and all that to match it. And then you pay your property tax and your mortgage. And even when I have a mortgage, I'm just going to call the mortgage rent. Oh, my rent, because that's all it is. Even if you have a mortgage, you're just renting. You're not any higher up. You can't, you can modify your house and shit and do stuff like that. But you can't kill somebody. Okay, this is a big thing that's going on with some of our buyers. They think because they went the buyer route, they're allowed to do murders on renters. No, you're still going to prison. You can't, and same goes for renters. You can't murder buyers. And you can't take advantage of renters, and you can't take advantage of buyers. That's a contract. Legally binding. I own my unit as long as I'm renting it. Now, I am obligated to take care of my unit to certain standards, but guess what? There's also a law that states that there is a acceptable deterioration of a rental unit. It means if you've rented that unit for years, 5 years, then you have an acceptable amount of damages that you have to accept. That person owned the house. They didn't own the house, but they stayed there. They paid all this rent, and they left. Okay, this is the benefit to the homeowner of this one. I'll explain it. Because there is a benefit to the homeowner. It's not a bad thing. The renters stayed there for 10 years. They paid enough money really to buy the place all the way outright, but they had to leave or whatever and go somewhere else, right? You got to keep all the money. So that is why it's legally unfair to not allow any deterioration of the unit. That is your sort of the money there's a profit to it and all that, but that's sort of your business is to repair any repairs and whatnot. Which my corporation that I'm with is really good with any repairs that they need to do. As long as you notify them. But see that Phil Thompson over in that Teeswater, don't get stuck out there. Beware of any rentals in Teeswater, Ontario, Canada. It's a really bad place. That Cam Thompson can't even screw in a light bulb properly. Okay, don't expect any any repairs. Okay, they got their landlording is horrible. They don't do repairs. If you called them to repair, they'd probably come over and actually hurt you. They're really bad folks. So beware, all right? I almost ended up dead over there in that Teeswater. It's all a big setup. One of these red rooms. It's they get you in there, they set you up, or they advertise it on Kijiji that their apartments are for sale, and then it looks like a normal apartment, but then they believe it or not, they have keys, and you're dead asleep, and you don't think you're going to wake. Well, actually, it's really hard to wake up sometimes, and next thing you know, you wake up, and they're doing stuff to you, all right? And that's what type of place it was. I'd wake up, and they were doing stuff to me. Trying to kill me. take my belongings and shit like that. Like anti-Canadian, like the whole thing. It was like, what a waste of going to school. I went through the whole school system. When I was growing up, they said some people don't even need like some education. You get enough in it. I had enough in it. I went through the whole thing. Enough to where this is my video. You're watching the video that I'm producing. I'm making money for this video. Courtesy of our school system where I learned a lot of different things. Scheduling. Oh, I used to love the scheduling. That's really did something for me. I even got to learn the jail scheduling. That was something I wanted to learn. That is increased my money tenfold, is that gosh darn jail system. I learned a lot about that system. You think you know about the system when you're in watching movies, but you don't. Once you learn about the real jail system, it increases your knowledge a lot. Some people do those jail tours, eh? When I was in jail for a little time or short time or whatever, there's ones that walk through and do jail tours. I think those are in cities where they have jails and then there's schools around that city. And that's one of their field trips is there's the jail, you know? But I got to go on that trip, but I was in the jail. But when I was a kid in school, I never went on. We went to Universal Studios and all that, but I think it's pretty cute. Like, but guys, you're like really in the jail with the real killers in the real everything's that really just got arrested and all that. That's what I don't think the kids understand. It kind of looks amusing maybe from their perspective, but nope. They're like, it's a real jail. Do not stick your hands in the cage and all that. The women, especially, you know, they're all dressed up. You haven't seen a woman in forever like that. They're smiling because all the guys are hollering at them, whistling or saying words. Some of them are even exchanging words and all that, and all different other things. Some of the really, really, really devious, smart ones have notes written to give to guys with their phone numbers, all types of shit. Maybe even drugs you got to watch. Even in the kids,